It's far too easy to score against Chelsea. It just really is. It's too easy for teams within a game. I remember echoing these sentiments at the very start of the season, where it was like games can turn very quickly in the Premier League. You can be on the back foot and be on the front foot in a matter of minutes. The problem is with that in games is that Chelsea, it's too up in the balance where Chelsea have no semblance of control. Now, this will take time. None of us expected that this was going to be, I hope none of us expected this was going to be perfect within a couple of months. We have younger players who go in out of form. Tammy wasn't at his best today. Mount wasn't at his best today. You expect that from the age of the players. But it's just, I think that's a worrying trend for me. It's something that's got to be rectified. Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Everton 3, Chelsea 1. Where do we start with that? There isn't a lot good to say about that performance. There's probably one, and that one thing is Mateo Kovacic, who I thought was absolutely outstanding, did not deserve to be on the losing side, but that's the way football goes. He was head and shoulders Chelsea's best performer today, and he got his another goal, but unfortunately it didn't contribute to a positive result, and one that Chelsea didn't deserve. I think it's telling that the transfer ban being overturned a day before this game. And I do wonder, in reflection, not only fans, I'm sure there'll be pundits, journalists talking about this, but especially Frank Lampard thinking about how good of a decision that will turn out to be to strengthen in certain areas, particularly defensively, which today all of Chelsea's flaws were found out. I think it's 4 clean sheets in total we've had this season, and you think about the amount of games we've played already this season, where we are in the season now. That's simply not good enough for Chelsea, and Chelsea just were absolutely shambolic at the back today. There's no other way around it. Individual errors, just collectively, Chelsea was so poor. Everton were basically, especially 2 of those goals, gifted them. And we've seen that so often this year. I think of the amount of goals, Kepa has received criticism for goals this year, which I've criticised him for. I think, even himself as a professional would, especially that third goal today. It was an awful pass out to Theo Walcott in a game where Chelsea were trying to get back into it. But then, of course, it leads to a comedy of errors, and the way it eventually goes in just, I think, that goal epitomised Chelsea today defensively. But there's so many times with the first 2 goals today where players are just given basically the whole goal to aim at, and it gives Kepa, and it would give any keeper in the world, absolutely no chance to save it. I think generally today that's the frustration, because I look back, 7 days to West Ham in a game where Chelsea were very passive. The rhythm never got going in terms of attacking. This game was different in the sense that we do concede early on, but we go into half-time sort of on an upwards curve, and you think if Chelsea continue to press Everton back, we can get back into this. But once again, sloppy defending and just a lack of aggression, which is something we also talked about with Chelsea, from Christensen, from Zuma, especially in that second goal, where Calvert-Lewin twice in that second half, and Everton players were more committed. The amount of times in that game as well where, especially with the first goal for Carlson, where an Everton player is to the ball first in the box, that shouldn't be happening in the first 5 minutes of a game, and right away you're on the back foot. I spoke in my team selector about Goodison Park and how hostile it is, and today it felt inevitable what was going to happen and how Everton were going to perform, but it still went and happened anyway. Chelsea did not counteract that, weren't able to stop that, weren't able to ride sort of the wave of Everton attacks or their energy, or that they're pressing, they're hounding to try and get on the ball, to try and force Chelsea into mistakes, which they successfully done. I think so we go 1-0 behind, but I think we were a bit unlucky in the first half. I thought, as I say, the way we were playing, I thought Chelsea can get back into this if we keep it at 1-0 and if we keep hold of possession. that second half was really worrying to me. And I think what that second half proved, apart from the brilliant work of Mateo Kovacic, was how much we missed Jorginho. In my team selector, I didn't say Jorginho was going to start. I thought Frank would start with the same midfield, and he did. But that midfield and that just the team, we lacked all sense of rhythm, control, a tempo that, even the subs Frank made in the game didn't change anything. HUDSON-ODOI was brought on for Willian, but HUDSON-ODOI just took Willian's place. Same with Michy coming on, and we went all out to go two up front, but you never saw the effects of that because we could never keep a hold of the ball for long periods. Some of that, yes, is down to good work from Everton, hounding us into mistakes, but I believe a player like Jorginho, which I think it's weird to me, Frank has recently, in defeats to Manchester City, the Valencia game, and a defeat to West Ham, when we've been behind in the game in the second half, when we need to press the team back to try and get back into it, we need a goal. He's taken Jorginho off, and today he didn't even start him, didn't even come off the bench. I think that's just strange to me because I think Jorginho is such an important cog, and I thought you saw that today. Everton should have been defending on their 6-yard box. Everton should have been really defending for their lives, and Chelsea should have been penning them back with the players we have. That never happened today, and I think that it will be another lesson for Frank and as well the players, who I think some players just were really below par today, individuals. As I say, I don't think it was collectively as poor as maybe West Ham was, in the sense that Chelsea never looked like scoring against West Ham, really. There was that sense today at times, but that second half just was allowed to drift, and you could just tell what was going on in that second half. It was a bit like the Valencia game where we had no sense of control at all. We weren't pressing Everton back for any sort of sustained period of time, and I just felt that if Jorginho doesn't come on here, we are susceptible to a counter-attack. We are susceptible to make a mistake. And that's what happened. That third goal really was shambolic, as well as the second goal. Kepa, not a good day for him, not a good moment for him, but collectively in that defence. And that's the worry. And that's where I'm going to criticise Frank Lampard, because we've seen this now for a number of months. There hasn't been an improvement for clean sheets. We thought there was, especially when we went to Ajax and put in such a competent display at the back. But there's, I think, changing the back two now to go to Christensen and Zuma, moving Zuma out to the left, which I don't think worked against Valencia. We got away with it in midweek against Aston Villa, where we won. But today, I think, once again, that proved that that's probably the weakest of the defensive partnership Frank has available. And I think what today proved, it almost confirms to me that Antonio Rudiger will be starting against Lille, because he is so desperately required. He's played 45 minutes of football this season, and Chelsea need him back. Frank Lampard stormed down the tunnel, and I'm sure there'll be some harsh words there. Whenever the camera pans to Frank Lampard, he basically had the same expression we all did. Of course, he takes responsibility, and not only, I think, some of waiting to change things too late, maybe not identifying that Jorginho could have been used in that to try and retain possession, but also the responsibility on the players. Frank Lampard can't control Andreas Christensen or one of those defenders when that ball's up in the air for the second goal, not commanding and not getting their head to it first. Same in the first half, same with the third goal. He can't control Kepa basically just passing the ball to Theo Walcott and putting us in such a calamitous situation. But it's collectively symbolic of and systemic of the problems defensively at the moment. It is far too easy to score against Chelsea. It just really is. It's too easy for teams within a game. I remember echoing these sentiments at the very start of the season, where it was like games can turn very quickly in the Premier League. You can be on the back foot and be on the front foot in a matter of minutes. The problem is with that in games is that Chelsea, it's too up in the balance, where Chelsea have no semblance of control. Now, this will take time. None of us expected that this was going to be, I hope none of us expected this was going to be perfect within a couple of months. We have younger players who go in out of form. Tammy wasn't at his best today. Mount wasn't at his best today. You expect that from the age of the players. But it's just, I think that's a worrying trend for me. It's something that's got to be rectified. It could be rectified by Rudiger coming back in. It could be rectified by a signing or two that could really bolster that area of the pitch. We're going to have to wait and see. But we go into a big game now against Lille, where qualification from the group stage is at stake. Chelsea need to win that game. And it'd be such a shame after the good work in that group stage of the win against Lille, the win against Ajax, which was brilliant, the 4-4, that Chelsea now, and a good point away at Valencia, that Chelsea were to throw it away because of poor form. It also worries me, I'm going to continue saying this after every bad result during this period, a harsh winter. Chelsea, once again, during this period of the season, we've not had it good recently, and I've seen good starts to the season be torpedoed by March. I really hope that isn't the case this year, because there's been such a feel-good feeling around Chelsea. I don't think that's going to change, because we're all backing, Frank and this project at the moment. Is just really frustrating, isn't it? Where we could see what was going to happen with Everton. We know Goodison Park is a really challenging ground for Chelsea to go to. It's one of the bogey grounds. We haven't won there since 2017, I believe. Which, isn't that long ago, but at the same time now it's 3 without a win there. And considering it's like West Ham, we come up against a side in bad form, even though they have changed the manager, and we can't capitalise on it. And it's our own issues. It's us shooting ourselves in the foot, and that's cost us the game. So really not a lot to be bright about. As I'll say, Kovacic, I think, was a standout performer. I think that was pretty obvious, and I'm happy for him. He got another brilliant goal. That's the frustration, I'm sure, for him, is like, especially today, what a way to score your second goal. I try and think of another player. I can only think maybe Oscar was another player whose first 2 Chelsea goals were brilliant strikes. But frustrating for him. He's been outstanding this year, and he can take no blame today for me. But rest and just the passive nature of that second half for me was just really poor and really frustrating. So those are my thoughts on the game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll be back at it for Wednesday, where hopefully we can get a really important win and lift the spirits again. But consistency is key during this period, and that's the challenge for Frank Lampard, with team selection, with player form, all of that stuff. And defensively, we have to improve pretty simply. But those are my thoughts. If you did enjoy the video, guys, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.